I've got
Well,
one.
well, John, thank you for joining us on Kicking Tables to talk about Monster Stomping Heroes. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for having me, Sean.
So the Kickstarter starts in just 1 week from when we're recording this, which is awesome. It starts on March 30th. And you have graciously offered to give one of our lucky viewers a copy of the prototype, which you have
There we
in
go.
your hand, and which is cool because they can get it even before the Kickstarter's done.
They can.
So
Yeah.
if they want to be entered, anybody who wants to try to win that, just like, subscribe, and leave a comment on this video, and tell us what you're looking forward to in Monster Stomping Heroes, and listen to the end of the interview, and we'll get into a little bit more details then. But John, again, welcome. Tell us all about Monster Stomping Heroes.
Well, it's a game that I literally dreamed about. I woke up in about 3 in the morning, having been playing the game in my dreams, and
Wow.
I grabbed a pen and paper and started writing it down. And it's a time when I was like heavily involved in concepting some games. I was working at Riot Games at the time, and I was working with a group. We were putting together Dungeons and Dragons like 5e materials for
Wow.
Riot Games Worlds. So I was like hammering away on this stuff. We were doing a thing where the whole company basically stops working and everybody just starts working on these projects for like 48 hours with almost no sleep. And
Man.
our project was putting together D&D manuals for people to play D&D with, or 5e with Riot's IP. And so it was right in the middle of that, and so I was obsessing over games and game mechanics, and
Right.
and monsters and heroes, and suddenly I had this dream. So I woke up and wrote it down. And of course, like the final game itself has changed a lot from the dream, because I had to play test it, which, I mean, that went on for quite a while. Luckily, though, while I was working there, I had some really amazing people to play test it with. So it's like just one of those companies. They have their own board game division there, which was cool. And actually, the last thing that I did there was work for a short time with their board game division.
Awesome.
So it was a good experience. But the game itself, it became a labor of love,
Mm.
because it's definitely something I was doing in my spare time, which I don't have a lot of. I work in the film industry and working on animated movies and animated features and TV series
Oh, awesome.
and that kind of stuff. So I've worked on Surfs Up and Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs and Hotel Transylvania,
Wow, a
and
celebrity in our midst here.
Yeah. My daughter
not
loves your stuff.
yeah, just a hard worker. Yeah, and with Riot, I was working also on their animated TV series that's about to come out. So
Awesome.
um, so lots of cool stuff. I've always been passionate about board games. I'm also a professional dungeon master. I'm probably one of the most successful professional dungeon masters on planet Earth. Uh,
Nice.
so it's actually something that works. Working out super well for me, especially strangely enough, during COVID
Yeah.
times
Oh,
where everyone just got online.
yep.
Yeah.
And so, I turned down a lot of work. I have as much as I can possibly do. And it's been a lot of fun doing that. So I'm really heavily involved in gaming in general. And so this is something that's like I've been passionate about. I've been trying to design a game for a super long time. So I have a whole bunch in the closet that I've put together with a few partners, with my brother-in-law and some other people. And so there's a whole bunch of them that just have never made it yet,
Yeah.
that've been brewing. But this is the one I wanted to push all the way to the end. So,
Well,
so it's
give our viewers a bit of a taste of what the game is all about and what you're doing in the game.
so I mean, I call it basically it's a monster building game, where it's also a card game. So you have a set of cards. There's 138 cards in the deck, but then you have base cards that you start with, which is a monster body, a hero body, and a city that you're defending. And so your monster body is just that. It's just like a torso. You start off with 5 cards in your hand, and then you may or may not have some monster parts or some hero parts, and you start adding those parts onto your monster and your hero, and then those monster and hero get stronger.
Right.
As soon as you start building up a strong monster, well, you may have also put down some city defenses around your city. and the goal is to get 6 city defenses, which your city becomes impregnable at that point. And if you do that, you win. But then suddenly, as soon as you get 4 or 5 city defenses, someone with a monster is going to come over and start stomping on your city, which means that they're attacking your city,
As monsters
and,
are wont to do, you know.
Yes.
as they do. And so, but the twist on this is that you have your own monster and you have your own hero. So it's also a superhero kind of theme. So that the heroes are basically superhero based. They have laser eyes and flame legs and maser cannons and that sort of stuff. And the monsters are more like mutated monsters from Japan, sort of. So
Nice, yeah.
you really have these like the feeling of gigantic monsters versus superheroes going at it. One's trying to destroy the city, and the other one's trying to save the city.
It's
And so
pretty
you're
awesome.
really so yeah. If you go over and you stomp your opponent's city and you win the battle, you take their city defense and you add it to your own. And so you can build them up that way, or they can come straight out of your hand.
Yeah,
There's
it's
also
a lot of
dice.
fun. We reviewed the game. In fact, we'll put a link right up there to our review. But we thoroughly enjoyed this game. It was so much fun, and it was so easy to just dive into as well. It did not take any time at all to understand what to do,
Oh, that's
which
great.
says a lot, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was super fun. I actually had to explain the game to my wife this afternoon as we were driving home. Said we have an interview, and she said, "What's the game about?" I said, think of it like Mr. Potato Head, but with monsters and superheroes. You're building, and she sort of got the idea of it. She's kind of interested in it as well now. Super fun game. Really, really enjoyed it. So I'm curious when the origin story. Obviously, with superheroes, you always have to have your stories. You mentioned it came to you in a dream. Was it monsters and superheroes in your dream, or was that the original concept that you
Yeah.
actually dreamt?
That's exactly what it was. Which to me, I actually thought that was strange when I woke up because I'm all into like, I love, like Marvel and superheroes and comic
Yeah.
books. But like my main thing is like, dragons and sorcerers and, wizards and knights, right? So
I'm right there
the
with
whole
you,
time
man.
when I was designing the game, I was like, well, how can I do it so that it's like dragons and knights so like, but I just realized, like I gotta just do my dream, right? So like I just wrap my whole head around that theme, and it worked. The mechanics of it logistically work better, right? I do like if this game, when we do well with the Kickstarter in the future, I want to do versions of it. So that's why I called it Monster Stomping Heroes. I
Yeah.
want to do a Monster Stomping Knights, maybe, or Monster Stomping Wizards.
Okay.
Like so. There's going to be different themes in the
Oh,
future. You
very
know,
cool.
That's
I play a lot
awesome.
of
Yeah, I was going
Munchkin.
to ask you
Yeah,
about that because it looked like the series is called Monster Stomping, and
yeah,
the subtitled Heroes. So I was going to ask you about that. That's awesome. So you're
yeah.
hoping to do different themes along the same line.
Exactly. Yeah, and so that's we love Munchkin, so we play a lot of Munchkin
Nice.
in our household, and even my 7-year-old daughter plays it with us now. So, that's something I really like about Munchkin is all the different themes.
Yes.
We our Munchkin stack of I mean it's ridiculous,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we play the game, it's like we have way too many cards.
No,
So
you're
Yeah.
mixing them all together. I love Star Munchkin myself because I'm
yeah.
a huge
Oh,
sci-fi nerd. Now I noticed that on your Kickstarter you mentioned or on your webpage you mentioned the game is 100% complete going into Kickstarter, and it's really like you're ready to almost distribute it as soon as it's done. Was that important for you to go into the Kickstarter with everything done and ready to go?
I think so. I want people to feel like there's low risk here.
Okay.
You're going to get your game, and
Yeah.
it's fun. It's been play tested. All the pieces and parts are here. I think what we're going to do for a stretch goal, what I really want to do for a stretch goal is to and as good as GameCrafter is with their printing, it would be nice to I've gotten quotes from Print Ninja and a couple others to go to offset printing. So it's a small quality bump, in terms of
Okay.
like, the
Yeah.
feel of the cards and being able to add some texture to it and that kind of stuff. So,
Right.
but yeah, primarily like the game is done. There are some additional cards that I'm going to add in
Okay.
so there's going to be some expansion cards that are going to come along with people who are going to do like a $35 version of the game instead of $25 version of the game.
Okay.
And then some custom cards for people who are gonna, who are like super generous. They're gonna, I'm not sure who's gonna do that, but I have a friend that probably will. and I'll end up drawing a drawing a picture of him as a monster in the card. So, but that so those are the things I'm looking forward to. But I really wanted to get this game working
Right.
and complete so that it's low risk and it can be shipped like very soon after the Kickstarter ends.
That's awesome. I mean, there's nothing like getting your game almost immediately. Like, I still have Kickstarters I'm waiting for from like 2 years ago. So,
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you
me
say
too.
you're going to ship it almost immediately or even within a month, it's like that's pretty amazing. Like it's
Yeah,
almost unheard of. So that congratulations on that. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
thank you.
So I want to know what some of your favorite cards are in the game. You've got to have a couple of favorites from your playtesting and stuff like that. I'm curious to know, like I know I had a few that I really enjoyed seeing, but I want to know what your favorite cards are in the game.
I think I did all the art, so I'm probably a little biased. I like them all, but yeah, I think Hypno Eyes is like one of my favorite. It's just, and then also Enslave Your Foe. When I drew that, I was like, that looks really sad. The poor monster. He's being like, he's this little tiny bitty hero that's got him on a leash, and he's like,
Yes.
seven times taller than him. So those are two of my favorite. The for as far as the monsters go, I really like, or the heroes go, I really like the flame legs, and
Oh
for the
yes.
monsters, I like the tentacle back and the kraken feet. So those are some of my favorite. But I'm a little bit biased because I'm the artist also.
Yeah.
What
And
what I really liked about your art was that well when you're building your heroes or your monster, you're gonna have this mishmash of all different parts. There are actually parts that go with the bodies. Like
Yeah, there are a few. So
yeah,
like, so you can, it's like it can be a bit of a collection.
yeah.
Um, the parts, originally, and the original idea, and we still may build this in, was that there was, if you collected a set, let's say you had a set that was on your monster, it would actually give you an additional set bonus.
Oh, see, that would be
okay.
Uh,
awesome.
Yeah.
yeah. So this is something that, and we play tested it so many times with a set bonus. Actually, we played it for a long time with that mechanic going, and it sometimes felt like, and my wife always complained about it, right? While we were playing, she did not like it, and there were other people who didn't like it either because they'd end up, with a partial set bonus and still with like weaker items and then stuff in their hands that they wouldn't be able to swap out. And there was just sort of this like feeling that created in some people that where they were getting robbed, right?
Okay.
So you'd have to play test it that way to sort of experience it. So I took it out for now, and I do want to build it in potentially in the future as maybe an expansion.
That'd be
But
cool.
I think the
Yeah.
the, the problem is with it was it was sort of a numerical thing. I know it threw the balance off a little bit, and
Okay.
that's one thing I've done with the game is been very very careful to balance everything out. And we played it so many times, and I've had people play test it so many times where almost it's very rare that someone can snowball and win quickly, right? It's like generally when people play the game, it's really neck and neck,
Yeah.
all the way to the end.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
we
so,
found that tug of war aspect of it
Very
really
well.
really
Yeah. Really
yeah,
good.
really
yeah.
played into it.
So when you play with even, it doesn't matter how many people you play with it, it keeps that sort of that neck and neck thing going, especially when you play with more people. And at the very end, if someone's, I win, and the next person's like, no, you don't,
Yeah.
so you can like steal their win away at
Yeah.
the end,
Yeah.
and then depending on how they win. And then you can also gang up on people, and people never do that until the very end, to keep the game going so they can have a chance to win.
Yeah.
So that balance was something that I worked very hard, and we play tested very hard to make sure that it was fun that way. I love it when games keep things really close.
Well, speaking of playtesting, you must have with such a fun game, you must have some good memories, some really good, amazing moments in playtesting. Can you recall anything that kind of blew your mind that I can't believe that happened, or any just fun stories from playtesting?
Yeah, well, when I was playing with my 7-year-old daughter, I didn't think she'd be able to. First of all, I didn't think she'd be able to get it or really play the game very well. But it only took her like the second time playing the game before she totally figured it out and understood how to stomp me, but it was just um, it she the most memorable thing is that she lost the game. Like I beat her because I don't hold out.
Okay.
If it's, I
No.
don't care that she's 7. I'm not gonna let her win. Uh, so anyway, I beat her at the game, but she simply just didn't care. She's like, I love my monster, and she didn't want to take it apart. I'm like, oh God, I wish I'd recorded that. So it didn't matter whether she won or lose. She just like loved her monster so much. She didn't really care about the hero so much, but she was like so into her monster that she didn't want to like put the cards away.
You're gonna have to add a section to your website, get people to send in their favorite monsters
Yeah.
and
So there's
heroes.
You've got a
favorite.
little Frankenstein there on, at home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, part of the expansion cards is basically I'm going to create more monster and hero parts, right? And
Awesome.
and the game works well with that. So basically, the more the merrier. You can't have too many of those in the deck, and so the more I can expand it, the more people will hopefully be able to pick up these expansions later if they don't get them during the Kickstarter. Um, that just makes the game more fun because then you have more and more options for swapping out, making these wacky monsters and ridiculous heroes. So
Yeah.
or cool
Potentially,
heroes. Yeah.
yeah, or even mixing sets if you manage to get knights in there, have knights and superheroes mixed together,
Yes, definitely.
some fun
It's
fun
gonna,
things
it's
like
gonna
that.
be really weird.
Yeah. You
So
take the Munchkin route where you can mix it all together and have this massive set of cards.
yeah, it's like Munchkin just shows you how you can definitely have a million cards in a deck and
Yes.
Still
still
fun.
handle.
It's still
Absolutely.
fun.
Yeah.
So you'd mentioned, obviously some expansion plans and some extra cards. Are there any of the extra cards you might be able to tease for us?
Yeah, so there's going to be right now we have a note card which everybody loves, so I've added more of those in. But there's going to be a cheat card,
Oh,
and yeah, every couple days my wife, did you make the cheat card yet? Did you make the cheat card yet? I'm like, I'm getting to it.
she really
Right.
wants a cheat card.
Yeah. So a cheat card will allow you to take a hero part and put it on a monster, right? And
Oh,
Oh,
or a monster part and put it on a hero. And so it's a you know it's basically going to look broken, and
yeah.
it will break the mechanics a little bit. So I can't put too many of them in the game,
right.
right? Because it'll there'll be more. If you have the cheat card, then you can definitely have a better chance of having a more powerful hero than anyone else in the game or a more powerful monster. So it's going to be a powerful card, and yeah, she really wants it in the game. I really want it in the game, so I think it'll be something fun for the players.
Oh,
Awesome.
that's
Awesome.
that's fun. That
Well,
is fun.
listen, John, we have a new segment we want to do with our guests. You're probably familiar with it. Just a really quick lightning round. It's just the first answer that comes to mind. Just say it. Really simple. It's 5 questions. Are you up for this?
Sure, yeah.
Awesome. So all of these questions are all based around, think of your gaming or your game night. They're all based on game night or gaming itself. Okay, so question 1. Game night etiquette. Food on the table?
Yes.
Family or friends?
Family and friends and strangers.
Legacy games. Destroy components or preserve them?
Preserve them.
Star Wars or Star Trek?
Oh, that's hard these days. Oh God, Star Trek.
First game you ever played?
Ooh. Candyland.
Awesome. That's awesome. That's it. Just 5 real quick lightning round. That's awesome.
I didn't
Now,
want to say it. I was like, I can't say Candyland, but
Candyland is
not
fun.
hey, come on.
yeah,
Snakes and ladders, candy, that all those things, man. You
Yeah.
know.
yeah.
So, just before we say goodnight to you, give us your elevator pitch. Why should we back Monster Stomping Heroes?
Because it's a family-friendly game that you can play with your kids or with your grandparents, with all your friends. It's also fun at a party, and it's quick to learn and it's easy to understand. The rules are all on the card, so if you just got to read the rule off the card, and it's easy enough. So once you understand the mechanic, it's like really fun and easy to play. The games only last for like 20 minutes. Sometimes they'll go a little bit longer. And so it's a fun party game, but it's also a great game to play with family and friends, and you can even have like one-on-one duels with people. So yeah, hope you go and pick it up because it's going to be a really great game to add to your rotation to have on the shelf.
And Tico and I can vouch for that. We've played it. We
Absolutely.
recommend
So
it.
much fun.
Look for our review. It's on the site now. But John, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and thank you again for giving away the prototype to one lucky viewer. If you want to win that, everybody, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment down below and tell us what you're looking forward to in this game, or your favorite game mechanic. And we will choose a winner on April 15th. And John's willing to send anywhere in the world, so no restrictions. Awesome. So, John, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it, and good luck with your campaign.
You're welcome. Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Tico.
Thank
All
you.
right, and have a great night.
Thank you. You too.
Okay, thanks. Bye. Thanks everybody for watching, and I hope you go and check out the game Monster Stomping Heroes on Kickstarter. And if you want to subscribe, that'd be an awesome idea. I'm a subscriber, and I recommend it. Just hit the button right down there.